Arches National Park is located just north of Moab, Utah, and is a quick 10-minute drive from town. Over 2,000 natural sandstone arches are located in the park, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to see one. Our first stop in Arches was to see the Balanced Rock. You can see the Balanced Rock directly from the road, but if you want to get up close, the trail is only 0.3 miles round trip. The beginning of the trail is flat and paved, so there is some accessibility. But if you want to get a little closer, to continue around the rock means walking on rocky, uneven trail, so do keep that in mind. This 3,600-ton boulder sits at 128 feet tall, and it really does feel like it's going to topple down any minute. I definitely recommend checking this site out as it's so easy to get to and not too far from the visitor center. The next stop we checked out was the Double Arch Trail. Before we started the 0.6 mile round trip walk, we used the stairs by the parking lot to get to the restrooms in this area. This was a very busy area since the Windows Trail is nearby as well, so there was a bit of a wait here. Double Arch itself is the tallest arch in the park at 112 feet tall. It's also the second longest arch as well. We made it to the top of Double Arch Trail. It is so beautiful up here. It's like having your own personal window into the rest of Arches and the LaSalle Mountains. You do have to be pretty careful up here. It's super easy to get up, but it's a little harder to get down. It's incredible. I feel like I could just sit here all day and just like stare out into the beauty. After Double Arch, we made our way back up the stairs to check out the Windows Trail. This 1 mile loop takes you past several iconic viewpoints, including Turret Arch, the North Window, and the South Window. This first archway to the right is Turret Arch. This is going to be the smallest arch you'll see on this loop. Just off Turret Arch, you're going to see a couple signs that are going to direct you either to the North Window or the South Window. We went around to the back and checked out the South Window. The cool thing about this area, there really was not many people back here at all. This also leads to the Primitive Trail loop, and this is going to be a much more isolated loop. While we were on the Primitive Trail, it was much more secluded. We saw less than a handful of other people back here. You will also get some incredible views, so highly recommend fitting this one in the itinerary if you have the time. Also, the time of day that we were back here was super great. It was about 5:30 p.m., so the sun was going behind the red rocks and it felt so much cooler, just provided some much needed shade for us. So here's an all trails map of this trail. We decided to go ahead and do the full loop. So we're currently over here. It's just gonna loop you right back over to the parking lot. If you're thinking about the Windows Trail, I would suggest doing it. It's really nice if you do the full loop. Once you get past the North Window and the South Window, there's really no one out here. So if you want a little bit of solitude, highly recommend. There's also some amazing views on the opposite side as well. Here we're coming up on one of my favorite views of this trail. I really tried to showcase this for you guys. Unfortunately, it was pretty windy, so I just had to cut the audio, but here we are, this beautiful view. This is what awaits you if you want to go check out the Windows Trail. I think one of the coolest things about Arches is even though it's a desert and you think you're mostly going to be seeing rock, once you get out on the trail, you're actually seeing a ton of flora and fauna. We've actually seen some lizards and quite a few ravens, which is really cool. And everything is flowering right now since it's May, so there's a ton of beautiful flowers out. Our last stop for the day was the Upper Delicate Arch Viewpoint. This is a steep half-mile trail that climbs up and allows you to view the Delicate Arch across the canyon. You cannot hike up to the Delicate Arch from this trail alone. It is just a viewpoint. We just went and saw the lower viewpoint, and you can definitely see it. So if you're not in the mood to do a big hike, you don't want to do the full Delicate Arch hike, you can do that. If you don't have time for the full hike, but you want to see a little bit more, you can do this Upper Delicate Arch Viewpoint. Be warned, it's really steep. Oh my god. It will grow you a booty. Delicate Arch is the most famous arch in the park and is the iconic arch on the Utah license plate. I do really wish we would have had time to do the Delicate Arch hike, but we were on a time crunch on this day. We're definitely going to go back though and check it out next time. So you may be able to see the Delicate Arch behind me. Definitely not going to be as great of a viewpoint as it would be if you do the actual Delicate Arch trail, but if you're limited on time like we are, I think this will do. You can still kind of zoom in, get some good pictures, and you can still definitely see the arch. Like, it is very unique and very pretty. We're back in Arches National Park after a couple of days. We just did the Fiery Furnace hike, so if you're interested in watching that, I have another video. I'll put that right up here. We're on the trail to Broken Arch right now. We just finished up at Sand Dune Arch. Highly recommend checking that one out. It's only 0.3 miles, so super quick out and back. You know you're in the high desert when you just saw a dust devil form right behind you. The Broken Arch hike is 1.2 miles round trip. For this hike, make sure to wear a hat and plenty of sunscreen. It's very exposed with absolutely no shade, and you'll be walking on sand, so it gets hot very quickly. The name Broken Arch is definitely misleading. This arch isn't broken, at least not quite yet. There does seem to be a notch and a crack in the middle of it. I was actually kind of surprised. I didn't look up anything about this hike prior, so I wasn't sure what to expect. The arch itself creates a beautiful window to gaze out of. It was a really nice place just to sit and enjoy the scenery for a bit. Being in Arches National Park is really an incredible experience. Having visited all of Utah's national parks, I have to say that Arches is definitely in my top 2. The dramatic scenery and the play of the light bouncing off the red rock is really mesmerizing. There's some fantastic hiking out here, and the magic of the desert is truly alive and well. If you like this video, definitely check out my Fiery Furnace hike video. This is a permit-only hike in Arches and is hands down one of my favorite hikes I've ever done. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.